Hello, humans. Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve. And today, I'll be going over the new Endymion cards. Yay! So I actually experimented a lot with the deck. So at first, I was under the impression, like a lot of people, that this is just gonna be for pin magicians. And then once we've seen the rest of the cards, like, no, this is actually some pretty high quality stuff. You can do a lot of things with this. You're not just teching an Endymion or two into a pin magician. This can easily function as its own deck. So I tried a pendulum version of this with like magicians and Dark Worm, and that deck was shit. Absolutely awful. As it turns out, pendulums are only spells conveniently sometimes. They will only get you like one activation on these cards. So I was like, okay, these have no synergy with this deck. So what I decided to do instead is I took out all the excessive pendulum turbo cards because they didn't do anything. They were just like make Electromite, but you can just like your deck searches everything it needs already. So what's the point of Electromite? It was just like I don't know how to put it. It has no synergy with the regular pendulum deck. So what I decided to do is I would like start from scratch, make it its own deck, and see where it goes from there. And this deck is insane. Holy crap. I'll just go into it and explain like some of these crazy interactions. So Master Cerberus, it's a pendulum that gets you like 2 spell activations. And it's a spell counter carrier, as I'll say. Any monster that can have a spell counter on it, I'm just going to call a carrier. Carriers are important for Endymion. Endymion himself is just an absolute monster. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, he also has an effect that I actually use every now and then, where he can remove 4 spell counters from the field, and he gets to banish a monster and have that attack. And then Endymion, you can, while he's in the pendulum scale, you can remove 6 spell counters from anywhere to special summon him. Then he blows up cards up to the number of cards you control that can carry spell counters. So he is automatically one. And if you had just one card that had all 6, you get 2 non-targeting pops. And then he places 2 spell counters on himself for doing it. But the thing is, like, most of the cards in this deck are carriers. So you're, like, popping an entire field. And they can't respond to it with natural monster negation, because that's its pendulum spell effect. His monster effect is giving himself immunity and negating spells and trap effects. Like, this card is nuts. And, in addition, besides searching any spell in the game if he goes by battle, besides being just a huge body with protection and recursion and destruction, he's a scale 8. That's a perfect scale. It's just, this card's fantastic. It literally doesn't even matter that you only really need to play 1. I play 3 because he's a scale 8 on top of every other thing that's good about him. And then Empress, she's alright. This is the one you actually just want to summon from the deck sometimes. She's good. She's just, I don't know how to put it, but she's okay. She's good enough to play in the deck, but not very many of her. Yeah. And 2 Jackal, very, very strong. Endymion deals with the spells, this deals with the monsters. So it kind of balances themselves. Yeah, pretty good. 2 Exemplar. This one's pretty strange. It's actually really strange. So I wanted another monster that could carry spell counters. But this one, not only does it carry spell counters, every time a spell is activated, it gives itself 2. Which is actually a really good number, because 3 spells summons Endymion, and Endymion activating itself is the first of 3. But its effect with instant fusion is actually really interesting. So the instant fusion targets are the Eyes Restrict monsters. She has an effect where she can remove any number of spell counters to special summon a spellcaster from your hand or graveyard equal to the spell counters removed. So if you normal summon her and activate Instant Fusion, make Thousand Eyes Restrict. You take their monster, you link it away into a Link Revo. You can remove one of those two counters to revive the Thousand Eyes Restrict and suck up another monster, and now you have an actual live and well restrict that's actually locking them from attacks. And you can do the same with Millennium Eyes Restrict, where you just summon it turn 1 and then make Link Revo, summon it back, and it's a monster negation on their turn. So yeah, very solid. I could probably play one because like you can summon it with one of the cards I'll mention later. But it's actually, I'm playing Desire, so I wanted to always have the option if I do banish a copy. And 3 Abductor, it actually makes perfect sense. It searches all the pendulums while at the same time placing spell counters. And its monster effect is actually really nice because you can search Effect Veiler, which is more monster negation. So that's pretty cool. And this is the best card in the deck. This card is insane. So it summons, when you get 3 spell counters on it, you can summon it from your Pendulum Zone and summon any carrier from your deck, with 1,000 attack or more. So you can't get like Library and whatnot, but you can get any of them. That means Exemplar, that means Jackal, that means Empress, Sorcerer, Cerberus, Abductor, like any of them. And oh man, this card is so good. Not to mention it's just a great floater as well. Just super good. This one I think is the worst one. Because in the Pendulum scale, it is a scale 8, which is a good scale for this deck, but in the Pendulum Zone itself, it's actually really useless because it summons back some from the extra deck. So it's not a turn 1 play. It needs to be something that you've already done. And then its monster effect is just a worse version of this one's scale effect. The only reason I even play it is I wanted the like small searching I wanted a thing that Control could get that was this, because it summoning it on your opponent's turn at Jackal is good enough to play, but it is probably the worst one in here. And 2 Effect Veiler because you can search them. 3 Instant Fusion for the Instant Fusion play I was talking about. 3 Spell Power Grasp. This whole spell lineup is just activate, get another card kind of thing. Spell Power Grasp is one of them. Toon Table of Contents is like 3 of them. And then the Toon World for the last search. And then Spell Power Control, very strong. Searches the entire archetype, and in addition occurs spell cards naturally and by its own effect. Then 3 Citadel. This is overkill, absolutely. But I just couldn't think of anything else to play. Triple Desires, because it's good. Double Terraforming, extra spell activations, and then 1 Upstart in a 42 card deck because it is a spell activation. It doesn't even matter that it draws a card and it makes your deck 39 cards because this is a spell activation. That's the only thing it's used for. If it wasn't for that, it would just be 41 cards or 40 cards without Upstart, but you just need activations. That's all that matters. Extra deck, I already explained these two. Just a bunch of generic staples. Daybreaker is actually not very good, but sometimes you can resolve them, and he's nice when you do. Then Link Rio is probably the... I think in the entirety of me playing this, I've made this once, this twice, and this like 13 times or whatever. And then these guys, obviously, I make them a lot. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that's about it. Remember, Master Dinnerflex will take your soul.